everyone. Anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Ben Moore, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to become a Google certified educator. So just before I get started, I want to outline just what the certifications are. We're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive in just a moment. But as you can see on the screen in front of you here, there are 4 different levels of the Google certified proficiency as such. And there is actually a 5th now that's added, but Darren's going to do a session later about that, about a certified coach. But the ones we're going to look at in particular this morning are the level 1 certification, which is clear and consistent standards for teachers around the globe using Google tools every day. We're going to look at Google level 2 as well. So it's just a little bit more advanced than level 1, just a little bit extra to what we do each and every day. So before we take more of a deep dive in that, I just want to explain a little bit about who I am, why I'm here talking to you today. So as you can see on the screen, I'm Ben Moore. I've said that a moment ago. I am Google Certified Educator Level 1 and 2 and a Google Certified Trainer. And I'm going to tell you, because Darren will not forgive me if I don't, I am the youngest Google Certified Trainer in the world. So I'm quite proud of that achievement, and I do put it on. I do tell everybody I can. A little bit, I don't know. I'm really proud of that achievement. So my role in my school of New Rickstones Academy is an associate IT and computer science teacher. I'm a lead innovator for the trust, so hence I'm delivering this session to you today, and also do a little bit of coordination for our lessons after hours. So you're going to get a copy of this presentation at the end of the session today. And feel free to drop us an email if you've got any questions about anything, or equally pop them in the chat and I'll try and answer them as we go through. And also put a link to my Twitter as well if you want to reach out to me on there about things as well. So let's get started on looking at level 1 and level 2 then. So first of all, what is level 1 and level 2? So in effect, it's just Google's way of recognizing you for using the tools to an industry style standard. Now, when I say, well, you can see on the screen here, it says there's an online exam that will probably stick out to you straight away. I'll go for it in just a moment. Please don't stress. It's not really an exam, to be completely honest. It's sort of an open book exam, and actually I learned quite a lot from it rather than actually thinking of it as an exam. Excuse the bell. We've just got our lesson change going on. So as you can see, I've got 2 badges for each, and just the reason I show you both of those badges over here on the screen is just because, and I've noticed that's meant to be level 2, not level 1. There we go. But the level 1, or the yellow pin badge, that's the old style badge you'd recognise, and this is the new rebranded one that's been released this year. So the reason I put both of those on there is you might see some level 1 or level 2 using the yellow banding. They are still certified educators. They haven't changed over to the new badge you see at the bottom here just yet. So the level 1 exam, let's sort of talk about what it is and the things you see on the screen. So it does have a cost, which if you convert it to pounds is only £7.22 for level 1 and £18.05 for level 2. Each exam is valid for 3 years. So after the completion date, you'll if it's marked as successful, that sort of ticket or that badge will be accredited to you for 3 years. Now, at the end of that 3-year period, you would have to do a retake exam. And the exam is made up of both multiple choice questions and scenario-based sort of interactive tutorials as such. So if you're doing a retake, you only need to do the interactive tutorials. As far as I'm aware, you don't need to do the multiple choice again. You've already certified that. You already know your stuff, and as long as you're keeping up to date with it, you probably don't really need to do the sort of the multiple choice again, because you're using it all day every day. And level 1 really tailors that to those people that use the tools every day and just want a bit of recognition for using those tools and being proficient with those tools. Now, it does say a 3-hour online exam. Now, when it says exam, it's what's called an open book exam. So Google are very good at, I think Google are very, very good in this way, that it's not about always knowing the answer. Not everybody knows the answer to everything. That's impossible. But it asks you to see if you can find the answer. If you don't know where to find, don't know the answer itself, what do you normally do? If you don't know how to do something in your job, you'd go and Google it, wouldn't you? You go and watch a YouTube video. You can do the same in the exam. You can open a new tab, you can search for the answer, and then you can go back to your exam tab and go through and do that activity or whatever it is it's asking you to do. Now, this exam is never marked by a human. It's marked automatically by a computer-based software, so AI. So you don't need to worry about things being neat and tidy, or just do what it's asking you to do in the most basic form. You will need access to a webcam and Chrome in your exam, so an internet connection. You want to sort of set yourself aside a bit of time where you can be quiet. It says 3 hours. On most takes, or most people's attempts, it takes no longer than 2, maybe 2 hours 15, if I'm being completely honest. So do set yourself a bit of time aside for it. You still get to claim the 3 hours CPD, which is always a bonus. I mean, we're the easier we can make that, the better. And that's the same for both level 1 and 2. So you need that access to webcam and Chrome. You do need that pass or fail with the 80% cutoff. So if you get 80% of the marks, whether that be that'll be a mix, of the multiple choice questions and the scenario based questions. If you get over 80%, you pass. So you can afford to drop a few marks and still pass the exam. So what I'm going to do is this presentation will go out to all of you as well, but I just want to sort of show you where to find these things and what you can do to prepare yourself and why you'd sort of do it, really. And I've got to be honest, I've been using Google Tools for sort of 7 or 8 years, and I never certified until last year. Unfortunately, I got very unwell with the whole COVID thing, and that actually gave me a bit of time to do the exam. It was always something I wanted to do and sort of never got around to. But it was one of the best things I did for my professional development, because it's led me on to doing the trainer, which I'm talking about later on. So you can all come and join me for that session as well. But it is probably the best set of professional development I've ever done, is doing the level 1, 2 and trainer exams with Google. So in this presentation here, so we've got some sample questions to help you along the way. I've linked to the Educator level 1 training website, which leads you through lots of training modules and practice questions and the sort of things you're going to come up against in your exam. And there's a skills list here. So we're going to take a look at each one just to show you what to expect when you click on these. So when I click on sample questions here, they're all hyperlinked, so it will take you straight to the website in question. So it'll take you to the Google for Education official teacher training center. And what you'll see down here, it says start your journey with training courses. Now, you've got some tips for Google products, certifications, and professional development. We're going to go with certifications here. So if you click explore certifications, and feel free to do this alongside me if you'd like, you'll see you have the level 1 here and the level 2 here. Now, we're just going to click get started just to show you what to expect when you click on here. Now, when we scroll down here, it's going to ask you to create an account. Now, there is 2 testing platforms we can use at the moment. There's Criterion and Web Assessor. If you want my honest opinion, I would go with Criterion. If you can, go with Criterion, because they seem to be the better platform. There seems to be less sort of technical errors with it. I mean, the Web Assessor does work, but in my personal experience, it doesn't work too great. So I would always go with the Criterion one if you can. You're going to select your exam, so that's level 1 or level 2. And then you'll receive an email with your unique login. Now, what you'll need to be able to do to get into the exam is you need to open what's called an incognito window. Now, the reason it has to be incognito is we're signing out of, we don't want any conflict between your school account, your personal account with the exam account. It doesn't often happen if you use the incognito window, but if you do open it in say your teacher account like I am now, you will run into some problems. So I'll just show you how to do that as I'm talking about it. So in Chrome, whether you're on a Chromebook, a Mac, or a Windows device, it will be in the same place. You're going to click on the 3 dots in the top right corner here, and you'll see you have the option for the new incognito window. So when you click new incognito window, it'll just load up. This screen looks with a black background and a black banner at the top. That's how you know you're in incognito. Okay, so we'll go through some tips in just a moment. But once you receive those exam credentials, once you've paid or used the voucher we can give you for the exam, you have 7 days from receiving that email to take your test. You do have a seven-day window, so you do want to prepare your time. Make sure you put some time aside for this exam. Now, what I'm going to show you as well, there's some fundamentals training here, which is I went through it a few times, and it's really good. So we're going to click on start training at the bottom here. What I'll do is open a new tab. and it'll give you a whole load of units to have a look at. Now, each one of these has a video and has some questions to go along with it. Now, at the bare minimum, what I'd suggest doing is going through the unit 1 or the end of unit reviews. If you don't want to go through all of these, you know, you don't have to, because this is only level 1. You've probably used all the tools, you know how things work, you understand why they work. So to test yourself, if you test yourself first, see if you need to go through all this stuff. There's no point going through it if you don't need to. So have a look at your unit reviews, and there's all unit reviews at the bottom of each one of these, which you can go through. And all they are, if I go on to here and show you, it's just simply, I need to log into that account we've made up. But what it does, it's almost like a set of multi-choice questions. So 5 or 6 multi-choice questions. You answer them, click submit, and it shows you whether you got them right or wrong, and what the right answers were. So it's very intuitive, shows you exactly what to do and how to do it. And I went through all of those, and if you went through each and every one of these videos here in the unit stage, I've just gone back off that one, haven't I? If you go back to fundamentals training here and go through all of these individual videos for all the units, I think there's 7 units if I remember rightly. Let's have a quick look. Oh, there's blimey, I've had it. No, there's 13. I don't know why I've thought it was 7, but there's 13 in this one. If you go through all of those, you can achieve up to 15 hours CPD token or CPD hours for it as well. So most of you would already have that anyway. So you don't feel you have to do that, but it is an option ready for you there. Now, if I go back to the presentation here, we do have the training. That's a link directly to the training page, and it will give you those questions at the end of unit reviews. And this little link here, which is something that a colleague or sort of Google certified trainer has made, that's what I'm trying to get out. They made this sort of link that shows you the breakdown of each and every skill you need for the exam. Now, this link will show you it all, but I've got another spreadsheet somewhere that I think is linked in here, which breaks it down a bit simpler for you. So if it's not on that particular link, I'll link it in there for you before you get this presentation. So, a Google document showing you every single skill that could come up in the exam, and everyone's exam is slightly different. You don't all get the same sort of flat test. You do, it's sort of automatically generated by a computer. So you may get a question, for example, about YouTube, or a scenario about YouTube, but your colleague that takes the same exam at the same time may not. They may get a question about something like Google Sheets, for example. So it's good to know all the skills, and I will get that for you in this presentation before you get this sent out to you at the end of the day. So level 2, very similar. It is a little bit more advanced. Obviously, there has to be an advance in skills, otherwise there's no point in having a higher level. And this is the checklist level 2 one I put in there. I'll get the same for level 1. So sample questions is exactly the same as I showed you for level 1. It takes you to the website where you can do the end of unit reviews. And I've also linked in here the review answers for you in a spreadsheet as well. Now, this is the one that I want to show you in particular. This skills checklist that our friend or colleague Eric Curtis has made for us. So you can see he updates it quite regularly. July 2020 was the last time he did it. Now, this is a big document, and this isn't to say you need to know every single one of these skills, but it's saying these skills could come up. So it's worth having a practice run, or at least knowing where these things are or how to access them should you need them. So you can see it's a nice and easy tick box, and I personally printed this out. I know I shouldn't really be doing that as an innovator. I should be trying to do everything online, but I found it easier to print it off and tick off the skills as I plow my way through them. So we've got some things about Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, forms, slides, you name it, it's all in there. And most of this stuff, I'd say about 50% you do without knowing you've even done them. Things like setting a class name and section in Google Classroom, like, we all do that. We've done that so many times before, and they class that as a level 2 skill. And sending emails is a level 2 skill, so a lot of this stuff you guys already do and do every day. So, I don't want it to sort of panic you and worry you about doing this exam or doing these particular this skills checklist as such, because a lot of it you do. And if you don't know, there's lots of videos on YouTube. And last year, I actually did a boot camp for a company called Global Google Educator Group. and that's on YouTube. If you just Google or sort of YouTube that Global GEG boot camps, you'll see all this stuff come up, and we did a real good session of that. Now, the only one I think that I personally struggled with, and I think that you guys might as well, is Google Groups. And the only reason I say that is because we don't really use it. We don't really have anything to do with Google Groups. That is normally the IT staff or the admin staff that look after that. So this is things like sending your all staff emails. That is created in Google Groups. You can set rules and permissions per person in that group. So, for example, your head teacher can send an all staff email, but you may not be able to. That's all set in Google Groups. So that's the only one that I think personally we would struggle with, or I struggle with certainly, and you guys may as well. But as I say, there is a boot camp that I've done on that already, and I'll link that in the presentation so you can see that whole section. I think it's only about 15 to 20 minutes to go through all of that, and it just gives you that heads up for when it comes, if it comes up in the exam, I should say. So we've got one of those for both levels. Now, if I move on here, I just want to share some tips for success, or tips for things I feel would be beneficial to you in the exam. So, as I mentioned to you a moment ago, having a look through Google's Teacher Training Center, I would say that was the first thing to do. And it says that at very least take the unit reviews for each one of those. Now, Darren and a colleague in Ohio have done these very kind gifts for us. So first one here is be prepared to sit. You know, you are going to be sitting for a prolonged time. You can get up and get a drink. You can go up and get food. You can go up and use the toilet. In the exam, your webcam is on, but it doesn't matter if you leave to go and get a drink, go to the toilet, anything like that. If your kid needs lunch made, try to avoid that, obviously, but it can't mark you down for leaving or moving away from the camera. Okay. Have your webcam ready. Make sure it works, because photos are taken intermittently. So they are snapped, say, every 20, maybe 30 minutes to make sure you're still there and you're the person taking it. You haven't started the exam and then, for example, got me to do the rest of it for you, because obviously I'm already certified. That doesn't do you any justice by me doing it for you. 7 days to take the test after registering, so make sure you've got the time booked in to do it. Know when you're going to do it before you pay. Make sure you have the latest version of Chrome OS. So Chromebooks, if you're using Chromebooks in your school, which I'm sure many of you are, they periodically need restarting. I'd say at the very least once a week, if not maybe 2 to 3 times a week, because Google roll out updates, and they don't show up on your screen straight away. So it's always good to restart your Chromebooks regularly. Now, if you're in Mac or Windows, in the top corner up here, in the 3 dots again up here, you'll see when you have an update is you'll get a red flag on here, and it will ask you to update here as well. So it'll say update for Chrome. It'll just get you to restart it. So it should be fairly obvious if you're using a Windows or a Mac device when it needs updating. But for Chromebooks, it's not as obvious. So please restart it before you do that exam. Some more here. So pinning the tab to prevent your window, or prevent accidentally closing the window. So in your exam, you are likely to open lots of tabs because you're on the exam window and it's clicking. You have to click links to open to the next unit, or click this to open this presentation, this document. So what I would do, and this is probably one of the most important tips, if you don't know how to pin a tab in Chrome, all you need to do is right click and you'll see you have the pin option. Now on a Chromebook, it is almost, think of bunny ears on your trackpad. If you click 2 fingers down together, you'll get this menu as well, and you have the option to pin the tab. Now what pinning the tab does is almost change it to look like this. You have a tiny little box up here. Now you don't have the option to close it there. You can't close off. You can only close off on a big tab like this. So if you right click and pin it, then don't have that option anymore. You can't get rid of it unless you unless you right click and close it. So pin the tab is really important. Read each question carefully. I know that sounds really patronizing. I know that sounds like stuff we say to students, but read it 2 or 3 times, because some questions are worded in a way that requires more than one answer. They're not trick questions, but it does require you to maybe read it once or twice before you're making an answer. And I'm going to move down to Darren's bit underneath, actually, mark for review. So like we tell our students, if you're not sure on a question, don't sit and look at it for 20 minutes. put a star next to it or mark it for review, and you come back to it at the end once you've done all the other stuff. So you can click mark for review, move on to the next question, and at the end you have the opportunity to go through all those questions that you've marked for review and spend a little more time on them. Use the bookmarks from the pre-test session to get content quickly. So what that means is in your exam, you'll have hyperlinked documents and areas you need to go to. Use those. Don't try and Google it. Don't try and get into your drive by opening a new tab and going to the waffle menu, that stuff like that. Just click the link that's in the exam. It's not marked by a human, so it's not asking for it to be sort of done exactly right. It's just asking you to do it in the quickest and most effective way. Don't skip the questions. Again, that speaks for itself. Mark them for review, come back at the end, and then if you don't know, guess. There's no harm in giving it a guess. You're always going to get, you always have the chance of getting it right if you give it a go. If you don't give it a go, then you've got no chance. So it's one of those situations really where you just click something if you're not sure. And the last one then, there'll be a clock. Be aware of it, but don't let it distract you. So it will be in the top left or top right corner. Keep an eye, but don't let it panic you when it's creeping up to an hour, maybe 2 hours. You don't feel like you've done enough, because you will have enough time. I promise you will have enough time. Okay, so don't stress about that clock. Look at it periodically. But don't stress too much about it. Don't overthink it. It is just a test, and to be honest with you, it doesn't really feel like a test. It is more so, really a learning experience from my point of view. That's what I found. I learned stuff from the exam rather than feeling like it was an exam, and that's what pushed me to do level 2 actually after I've done the level 1 exam. Be sure to follow the directions exactly as stated. So I love how Darren's put himself in this billboard sign here. That's quality, and his little face in the space mask. I've not even noticed that till today. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But make sure you do follow the instructions. They are there to guide you and to help you get the best score. Your results will be emailed to you within 14 days to the email in which you signed up for the exam. Now, one thing I would say about this is don't sign it up to your school email. Sign it up to a personal email when you sign up for the exam, because when you go, when your badge is issued to you for the 3 years, it gets issued to that particular email address. Now, for example, if you were to move schools or leave the AET, for example, that badge would no longer be out. Well, it wouldn't be accredited to you anymore. It would be on an account that's disabled. So, I would always go for your personal email address when applying for any of the Google certifications, just for that reason. If you do decide to leave, or if you do want to move on and do something else, new ventures and all that, you don't have to worry about transferring the ownership over. You can transfer it, but it's just a little bit of a pain to do so. And then celebrate your success. It is a real big achievement to get recognised by Google for Education for these certifications. They're not easy, but equally, not a lot of people have the knowledge behind them or the confidence maybe to do that 3-hour exam. And that's what held me back for a long time. And I wish I'd done it years ago, really. Otherwise, I could have been doing all sorts by now with that knowledge. But it is celebrating the small things, and that isn't a small thing actually. But celebrate it, share it with your teaching and learning lead, share it with your staff, share it with your head teacher. Share it with friends, anyone that will listen to you, because it is a really big achievement and you should be really proud of yourself for even giving it a go. So we are running up to the end of time now, so we've got 3 minutes to go. So I'm keen to get some questions from you guys if you have any. This resources list here, there is a checklist for level 1 and 2. I know I'd put it in there somewhere. Level 1 and 2, and a hyperdoc, which is almost like an interactive tutorial or interactive doc to review some of the content and materials. I've linked in here a G Suite, or it should be Google Workspace now, not G Suite, but a scenario game. So that's linked. So if you just click on that tab, it will take you to a Google slide that's been made, and you can do this in pairs or groups of people, or even a team exercise. Once you present this, there's some different opportunities or different scenarios that you need to go through. So the green at different levels, so green, red and blue are different levels of challenge. So you've got a scenario. and you've got a task, so telling you what you should do. So this is almost practicing your skills ready for the exam as well. So almost a new style of practicing those skills in readiness for taking the exam. And the green are the easiest, blue is sort of middle level, and red are the hardest. So this is all linked within the one presentation you're going to get later today. All interactive. You can click on all these links here and it will take you directly to the website, so you don't have to worry about sort of getting lost or not knowing what website to be on. It will all be in this document ready for you to click onto. So last thing, you are the champion. If you're giving it a go, you know, you should be really proud of yourselves. We as innovators and as a team of colleagues in the AT, we're very proud of you for giving it a go, and you should equally be proud of that as well. You know, you've worked hard towards it, and I believe in each and every one of you. You can do it, and if you know, if you need any help, just ping any of us a message. We're all friendly. We all want to help you guys. So, you know, always just drop us an email, drop us a message on Google Chat, email the innovative support email. You know, one of the team will get back to you.